Jim Jim, what are you doing? Cool. Nice, nice.
Hello, everyone.
Um, tuk, 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 tuk. Hmm. So stuff is coming. Is just that I I sent the wrong link. Yeah, I said sorry.
Hey.
Yeah, you were on the on Google Meet because I forgot to remove that to remove the Google Meet. It's all on Zoom.
Oh, all good. I was just in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's my bad. Sorry.
No
Um.
worries.
All right. So. Usually, like people are showing up after 10, 15 minutes. So whenever you want, you can start. So yes, it's actually an exciting day for DevTpack because we are launching the DevTpack Village. So it's starting today in Buenos Aires during a month. It's like a pop-up city for 70 women and student developers. So some
Oh,
are also in the flight. Actually, it will be their first time abroad. And I think they will spend a great moment all together there. Yeah.
that's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I'll see you all there. I think I get there in a week or two.
Oh,
Um,
really?
to figure out my travel plans. Yeah. I'll be there for the week of Dev Connect.
Okay, okay, nice. So on our side, we are there until 24. Like, so if you are coming before Dev Connect, feel free to let us know. You will be welcome at the village, of course. Like some are involved into privacy into the village, so that's great. All
I'm
right.
already the Invisible Garden.
Oh, please
Yes.
come on Wednesday. We're hosting something with AV, Uniswap, and Morpho with for the Octon Hackathon. So let me share with you the link.
Yes, for sure.
You can register. Yeah. All right. Nice. We have a Nasado, so good food always. All right. So yes, to let you know, Steph, so everything is recorded. So it's put on our playlist,
Oh,
the Game
awesome.
Privacy playlist, and also that will be uploaded into our upcoming app. We will have a Dev2Pack app. So that will be a game changer to manage everything, to be honest. Because yeah, otherwise it's a lot of things. All right. So we can start. People will come like 5 or 10 minutes. I think will be around 20, 30. So yeah, as you want. For you
Okay,
to.
awesome. Yeah, and this definitely won't take the whole time, so we don't need a full 2 hours for it. So
Okay.
people at least a little bit of time back. Let me share my screen and then I'll get started.
Wow,
Okay.
amazing slide.
Oh, thank you. All right. So today we're going to talk about Nillion's blind modules and specifically NillDB, which allows you to create collections of user-owned data. And I'm Steph. I'm a developer relations engineer at Nillion and also Oceans 404 on Twitter. And at Nillion, we're building a quote unquote blind computer And what makes it blind is that it has three different modules that are all focused on kind of different aspects of privacy. And that's kind of why we call what we're building a blind computer, because everything that we build together makes the computer blind to the data, the computations, anything going on that a developer builds or a user does that's part of the blind computer. So let's talk about all three of these modules. The first one is nilcc, and nilcc provides private compute that developers can take advantage of. So with nilcc, you get a private compute platform where any node is performing a developer-specific workload within a TEE, which is a trusted execution environment. These are specific hardware environments that are isolated where code can run without the cloud provider being able to see it. So an alternative to a TEE is compute that runs inside of Google or AWS or Azure. And the thing about that is if you create some type of job or compute within those big tech companies could potentially see it. Their engineers can go in and see exactly what's happening. But with nilcc, because we're using trusted execution environments to host any of these workloads, we can't see what's going on, and neither can a cloud provider. So this means that as an app or a developer, you have access to general purpose private compute. So if you have sensitive data that's running through computation, or any type of workload, it's private and kept from those cloud providers. And so you can compute on anything private or sensitive, and the cloud provider won't see it. So these are the types of things that you could build with nilcc. My favorite current use case, and I feel like this is the Twitter meta this week, is private and secure X402 APIs. X402 is that it's actually not new, but it's the ability to add a payment on any API call, which is kind of a perfect use case for crypto. So if you pair that idea of like paying for data along with privacy within nilcc, I think you could create a pretty cool workload. Other than that, you can also create just general microservices, data analytics, AI inference, or machine learning, or do kind of like more complex cryptographic operations on databases, or even run MPC on encrypted data within nilcc to keep it totally private. So there's a lot that you can do with this, which is why it's pretty exciting that this is our newest blind module that's part of the blind computer. So the next thing that we have, so nilcc, which was that private compute, was the first module. The second one is NilAI, which provides private LLMs. So private LLMs is kind of like a set of supported APIs. They're really similar to OpenAI compatible APIs. So they have most of the different things that an OpenAI compatible API would use and NilAI actually runs inside of nilcc, which is how it stays private. And so because those AI models are running within the TEE, we can't see anything that someone is asking the AI. And so, as a developer or an app builder, you can build private AI apps where you could make sure that you weren't able to see any of the user prompts or questions, or even like the system prompts and conversations that are happening within NilAI. And so I feel like the last few days, especially with the announcement about ChatGPT no longer providing medical or legal or financial advice, and just the idea of censorship within all of these different AI apps by OpenAI and similar companies, show us that we don't really want to live in a surveillance state where a app provider plus a government are policing and setting the terms and conditions on what we can and can't ask in AI. It's super powerful technology, and obviously there are ethical concerns and all types of things. But if the technology is able to tell you about history or about health or about something else, there still should be options for privacy preserving ways to use that technology and still keep people safe. So thinking about all of that, we actually have an alternative that you can use and try today. It's called Nil GPT, and it's basically a OpenAI ChatGPT alternative that doesn't spy on you. It runs within Nil CC, so it's in that confidential compute environment, and it also uses Nil AI. So if you use our chatbot, we literally cannot see if we tried anything you've asked because it's all encrypted and completely private. So this is kind of an alternative, and you can use Nil AI to build your own version of Nil GPT. All of our code is open source for this, so you could clone it, you could fork it if you wanted to, you could put your own spin on it to develop like a Zcash GPT or an Ethereum or a Solana GPT and add that tooling in to do any of the crypto transactions, all while having an alternative that is private. The only other way I know of to do something like this is to run a local model. Personally, my laptop isn't powerful enough to run these models and kind of like have a private environment. So for me, Nil AI is a great alternative because I can connect to something. It's not taking up a ton of processing power on my computer because it's running inside of the Nil CC TEE, and I still know that I have privacy guarantees. So that is the Nil AI blind module and also an app example, Nil GPT, that's built with Nil AI. And Nil AI is really awesome for builders, apps, and users. First, because of that true privacy piece where all of the prompts and outputs are secure. Also, because of the way that the OpenAI API works, it adheres to the OpenAI standard. So all of the calls that you would make are pretty much drag and drop the same way you would if you were using like the ChatGPT APIs or anything like that. And the other cool thing is that you can pull context from your own encrypted data. We'll get into NilDB in a little bit, but OpenAI's servers don't have all this data on you. In one of the screenshots I had in the previous slide, let's see. Oh, this one right here. It was a tweet from June, and it said, ChatGPT knows everything about you. I got a full data security briefing and was stunned. So behind the scenes, all of these other AI apps are storing tons of different data points and facts to better tailor the answers based on who you are. That's really awesome because you get more personalized responses, but at the same time, who knows what's happening to that data behind the scenes? I feel like the next major data breach is going to be an AI data breach where something like this gets leaked. And some of the data we give to chatbots is so private. Like, I personally am a little embarrassed, but I've definitely talked to a chatbot about health things or about finance things. And I'd be pretty embarrassed if that type of data was leaked. So Nil AI kind of protects all of that and is just, in my opinion, one of the greatest kind of alternatives to just like the traditional AI that we've come to expect as part of our daily life. So if you are using AI either in your apps or your personal life, definitely try Nil GPT. It's completely free right now. So there's really no reason not to try and use it. And then if you're building, check out Nil AI. Okay, so we talked about the first blind module, which was the private compute. Second one, which is Nil AI, which is the private AI. And then the third one, and the one that has to do with the user-owned collections and user-owned storage, is NilDB, which provides private storage. It's a private database. So with NilDB, all of the different records or data that you're storing is encrypted across multiple nodes so that no single database or node ever holds the fully decrypted data. So that provides kind of like stronger security guarantees compared to something centralized. And it makes NilDB a really great option for apps where the storage needs privacy and user control. So I wanted to do a really quick demo of the blindfold library. This is what we're using to encrypt data across the different nodes. And I think this is just a good visualization of what's happening when the data is stored inside of NilDB. So the Blindfold library is just a JavaScript and Python encryption library that you can use standalone. But this is what's kind of integrated into Nillion storage to make sure all of the data stays private. So there's different demos of the different encryption mechanisms, but let's check out the store demo. Even in this like little visualization, you can see that there's a number, it's encrypted into 3 shares, and then it can be decrypted back to that number. And so with Blindfold, you can encrypt either a string or an integer directly through the library. So I'm just going to write, hey, dev3path as the string. I'll run an encrypt. And you can see that when you encrypt, there's 3 different secret shares that are created. So these 3 shares, one is sent to each of the different nodes. So they're stored separately. But when you recombine them together because you have the secret key and run decrypt, you should see the decrypted output, which is hey dev3pack. And you can even share this encrypted data. I'm going to share this with all of you. I'll share the link. Oops, where's my Zoom? I'll put it in chat. I think this will send to everyone. Okay. So I sent you all the link to decrypt this, and all you need is the secret key seed, which in this case was, let's see. Oh, it was just my deterministic seed. So let me also send that to you so that you can paste it in. So if you paste this seed into the link, you will also be able to decrypt the data and see the message that I had encrypted, which is hey dev3pack. And you can see that because you took all of the different encrypted shares that I had used, and then you decrypted it with a secret key. And so I'm sure you can all imagine that this is just a small example because we're only encrypting one string. But if you are able to do this with tons of different data and combine it with different things from crypto, like addresses and private keys, you would be able to send any type of data in an encrypted way to a friend, and all you would need to know is their address, and then they would be able to use their secret key to then decrypt that data. So that's kind of the basis of NilDB. Let me go back to my slides.
Hey, Steph, is it
Oh
okay if
yeah,
I
is there a
ask you?
question?
Yeah. Well, what's a cluster key? I can see a deterministic key, one single one, but what's a cluster key? I've seen in the previous slides or previous.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you're using the Blindfold library, there's 2 different options. You can either use a cluster key or a secret key. So with a secret key, there's some type of seed or a private public key pair that controls the secret key. With the cluster key, you're just encrypting that information to the cluster. So the cluster has the power to decrypt it. This is giving you a little bit less control. I think there's yeah, so a cluster key is just a coordination key without cryptographic material. So if all of the different nodes in the cluster colluded, this would not be a secure method of storage. So this is more for just storage of anything that's not super secret or just meant for one person.
Got it. Yeah, thanks. I guess so. There is one more question from Carolina. Like she's asking, like if this splitting into shares uses fiat Shamir algorithm. Is that correct?
What was the question?
It's splitting. Is this cluster key pairing or this encryption or decryption uses fiat Shamir algorithm, like the
Shamir's?
cryptographic? Yeah, Shamir's. Yeah.
Yes, I believe it does. All of the different mechanisms are slightly different depending on how many nodes and what the operation is. I think there's Shamir's as one of the options. Yes, so if you're doing summation across multiple nodes, behind the scenes, it's using Shamir's secret sharing. In this case, I was just doing storage across multiple nodes. So it's using XOR-based secret sharing, which I think is a little bit simpler. Honestly, I'm not a cryptography expert, But I can kind of appreciate that using a library like this, you don't have to know the exact implementation. You can always go look it up. And it quote unquote like just works for developers, even if they don't know all of the underlying cryptography like me. Does that
Mm,
answer your question?
yeah, no worries, Steph. Yeah, you did
Okay.
answer some part
Thank you
of
so
it.
much. Yeah, I can also double check with one of the cryptographers on my team. They know this stuff like the back of their hand, so they could give a even better explanation of which operation uses kind of like which implementation of secret sharing. They're all a tiny bit different.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate the help. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So that was the blindfold demo of the encryption library used for NilDB. And so what you just saw and why it matters. Oops, my laptop is dying. Let's see. I've got some time. Okay, so this is really cool because the data, when it's encrypted, never exists on just one machine or in just one database. So each of the three nodes in the demo is only storing a share, and it looked nothing like that message, "Hey dev3 pack." So if you just kind of got access to one of the nodes, you'd have no idea what data was in there, which keeps it more secure. So even if one of the nodes is hacked, nothing is revealed. And as you saw in the second little demo where I sent you all the link, only the authorized user that knows the secret key to the data could recombine the shares because otherwise nothing would happen. You would still just see those different pieces from the node that reveal nothing about it. So similar to nilcc, where you didn't have to trust the compute provider, in nilDB, you don't have to trust us or the node. You just have to trust the cryptography and that when everything is recombined, you can get that value back. And as long as you have a really secure secret key or private public key pair, similar to how you would store that for a crypto address, all of the data should stay safe and not be revealed. So this is great for storing private data. So when you're building with NilDB, there's a couple key concepts to know. The first one is the builder. So the builder is the app or the person or the provider that creates all of the collections of data that store things within NilDB. The user in NilDB is the data owner. So in this case, all of you were the user who happened to have that secret key. Um, all of the nodes live in clusters. So clusters are just groups of nodes that work together to store the different shares. So in this case, we had a cluster of three different nodes. A node is an entity or like a database that stores one of the shares. So it doesn't have all of the data, it just has one of the three shares. And then when you're storing things, you can either store plain text or encrypted data. So we saw an example just now of encrypted data, which has been secret shared to the three nodes, but you can also use this to store just like plain text fields if you want to. It's not really the use case that nilDB is for, but sometimes if you're storing a bunch of data, you have parts that don't need to be secure, and it's just a lot easier to store them alongside of the encrypted parts. So that's also possible within NoDB. Not everything has to be encrypted if you don't want it to be. And if it is in plain text, it is queryable, similar to a MongoDB query that you'd be used to as a builder. And also in NilDB, there's two types of collections. There's standard collections that are owned by the builder or the app, where the app controls the permissions. And this is good for shared or like data that is public-ish or only public to one person. But there's a second type that is probably the most powerful part of NilDB that is a user-owned collection. So within a user-owned collection, all of the data records are owned by specific users, not the app or the builder. And so as a user, you can kind of like set permissions on your data and then revoke access per record to either the app or to friends, to anyone who has a decentralized identity. And this is cool because it kind of enables true user-owned storage and data portability. So I always think about this similar to like Farcaster or Lens, where that data can be used by tons of different front ends. This is the same way, except for you as a user have you can like set permissions to specifically allow different apps or different people or different entities specific permission. So by default, no one has permission but you can change the permissions to allow more apps or more people to be able to see or use that data in a user-owned collection. So a collection is structured by a JSON schema, which is a kind of like code JSON that marks specific types of data within the collection. So a field for a JSON schema could either be a plain text field or an encrypted field, and it's marked to tell NilDB whether the data needs to be stored across all three nodes as secret shares or just in plain text. And the schemas are specific to the different ownership models we just saw. I know that's a lot of talking, so I felt like it would be easiest to visualize this within our collection explorer. This is a UI where you can see all of the different storage. So it's just at collectionexplorer.nillion.com. You just set your API key as a developer, and then you can view all of your different collections. So these are my collections. I was creating a bunch of surveys just as an example for one of the apps that I was working on. And this one doesn't look real, so we'll just take a look at this one. So this is survey responses, blah, 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 which is a bunch of survey responses to something specific. And I'll show you the schema. So the schema looks like this. It's always the same schema format, which is a draft 7. This is just a specific thing for JSON separate from NilDB, but everything needs to be in this type. And then within the items of the schema, you store the different properties that you want to store. So I'm storing an ID for each record, a user ID, and then 2 sets of encrypted answers and plain text answers so that I can capture the data for this collection. When you're using NilDB, you can create your own collection schema using this kind of like friendly widget. So if I wanted to do a collection of data that has stuff from all of you, I could be like dev 3-pack attendees. And then I could choose a collection type. So either an user-owned collection where you all owned your data, or a standard collection where I owned all the data. So let's create a user-owned collection. And then you decide what types of data you want to collect from each user. So I think I'd like to collect everyone's name. And maybe I'd also like to collect your telegrams. And so for name, I'm going to make this required. And yeah, let's keep it secret. So this will be encrypted. And then for Telegram, let's also make it required and secret. And then I'll create this collection. And behind the scenes, this has created a new collection within NilDB where we can store a bunch of data about all of you if we wanted to. So this will store your names and your telegrams. And because we marked them as encrypted, they'll be stored as shares in each of the different NilDB nodes so that when data is added, I, as the builder, won't be able to see it by default until you, as the user, give me access to it. So that's what it will look like. Okay, back to the presentation.
Steph, I have a question. Do we
Yeah.
have any limits for these kind of records or data or any kind of data? Is there any upper limit for
Yeah,
that?
there is an upper limit. It's the same as MongoDB's, which I believe is 10 megabytes. And if you have larger files than that, you can just kind of like shard them or split them across different records, similar to how you would with MongoDB. Quite honestly, if you're storing something like images or super big files, this probably isn't the right solution. And what I would recommend is using like blob storage or something that allows for really big files. And then you can encrypt those files and store the keys inside of NilDB. but use something like blob storage for a big file. That's kind of what people do right now.
Yeah, got it. Thanks for the
Yeah,
for
no
clarity.
problem. So the access control within user-owned collections is the most powerful part. Each of the different records that are being stored get to manage their own ACL or access control list. And so, as a user that owns one of these records in a user-owned collection, you have the power to grant access of that record to either another app, another user, or a different wallet or DID. So, we actually just added wallets literally last week. We now support Ethereum wallets. So you can give another Ethereum wallet access to specific data. So if I knew your ENS or like your ETH address, I could say, okay, I'm giving dev3pack.eth access to this record. And then they could, with their wallet, sign just like a pretty classic Ethereum signature to prove that they have access and see that data. So that kind of creates a mechanism for private data sharing with other addresses. And then as a user, you can also instantly revoke access to a record. So you don't have to delete the record from the collection. You can just change your ACL or access control list so that dev3pack.ens no longer has access to it. And so that works for wallets now, DIDs, which are like a specific Nillion DID, or app IDs. So this is cool because as an app, even though you create the collection, you're not the gatekeeper of the data. It's up to the user how they want to give access, and they can even decide not to give access to you as the builder, which just kind of creates a lot more potential privacy and user control over data. If you do add plain text data as an app, you can query the data through MongoDB style queries. So if you're used to kind of doing specific matching or searching through your records, you can still do that. But it only runs on plain text fields because we can't see the encrypted data. And so anything encrypted can only be queryable by the user who can kind of fetch all of that data and then query in one place. So there's two different flows. As a developer or builder, the way you use NilDB is you get an API key. Then with that API key, you have access to do anything with NilDB. So you can define a schema and create collections, and then you can store or query data via our SDK. We have two different versions of it. One of them is TypeScript and the other one is Python. So that should work for most app use cases, whether you're building a web app or a backend service. And then as a user or a data owner, you don't have to create the collection. You can contribute private data directly to the collection, and then you can grant or revoke the ACL access per record or document as you see fit. So I think this is pretty cool for app builders. And the reason why it matters is that your data is no longer just like inside some app developer's database where they can see all of it, similar to Supabase or AWS. So the app developer can't necessarily see your data. The storage provider, who is us in this case, also can't see the data because it looks like those encrypted shares. And apps are just kind of like um, wrappers around your data. So they're permissioned viewers, not owners. So the app builder has no access to deleting it or keeping it forever because they only see it as you give them permission. So I think this unlocks a lot for kind of use cases. For AI, it unlocks systems where instead of ChatGPT being able to know everything about you, all of your data is in a database where you can revoke access. So you can use that data as context if you want to, but you can always take it away if the app sells or if the developer can't be trusted. You as a user have that power. So that's awesome for identity, wallets, health apps, all types of things. And so the future model that I'm hoping for is that as a user, your data travels with you, not these specific apps. And so it's super portable, it's privacy preserving, you have a lot more control. And all of those things to me as a developer and someone concerned with my own privacy are really positive. So that kind of creates a shift from apps owning data or services owning data to users, all of us owning data and apps borrowing it. I think in the even more future, instead of apps borrowing data, it would be very cool if apps bought data. So that would be a world where we took back control from the Instagrams or the Twitters that farm our data and then sell it to all of the people creating ads on the platform. And maybe in some future social media use case, as a user, you would own your own data and be able to sell the data to the apps if you wanted to. Otherwise, you would get like some type of private viewing experience. That doesn't exist yet, but maybe one of you can build it for the hackathon in Buenos Aires. So to build, you can check out our docs. We're just at docs.nillion.com. And if you go to build, we have 3 different quick starts, one per blind module. So you can build a private computation kind of like workload where your workload runs privately inside of nil CC. You can also do private storage with nildb and create private records written to each of the nildb nodes. Or you can use Nil AI to build apps that use private AI or private LLMs. Um, and yeah, if you need anything, feel free to ping me about any of these. I can give you an API key for NilCC, or make sure that you have testnet nil so that you can use either of these services super easily. And I think that's everything. That might have been my last slide. But thank you so much. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat. I lost my Zoom.
Yes, I think you can share yes API key, etc. that people can use to test after the workshop. That would be nice.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Um, I think there is a question from Pradibha. Yeah.
Oh, someone asked, can ACL have time-based access? Yeah, that's actually the default where you store kind of like, I think there's like an until timestamp that you can add. So you can say for the next hour you have access, or you can say indefinitely you have access. But you can also revoke that access at any time.
And I have also like a question more on the upcoming things that's coming up with Nillion, like at DevConnect, or what is the next builder activation where we can participate in?
We just finished a hackathon with RealFi, which is a Funding the Commons hackathon, but we're looking for more events. We're not going to do a specific hackathon at DevConnect, but if you all know of anything, we'd love to be part of it. I think we will be part of uh, I don't know who posted it, but Mert from Solana said something about a privacy hackathon happening in the next few weeks to 1 month. So we're looking into being part of that event. But anywhere that there's a privacy or an app builders type of thing, we're excited to kind of like participate and support. So let me know if you hear about anything.
Yeah, but Mert is talking about ZDC or Zcash. Like it's a very DeFi form or very progressive form of something finance. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure we are there yet, but yeah, would definitely love to see, you can say, simulators or examples how exactly Zcash works, something on those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for that hackathon, because it's Zcash specific, it would be cool if there was some type of nil CC workflow that either bought or sold Zcash on specific conditions, something like that.
And on our side, so actually it's like the bootcamp, but on the long-term perspective, like the group will become the ZK Piracy Builder Club. So we will have couple plenty of initiatives that will come up from January. So that will be nice, yeah. All right. Steph left. She's coming back, I think. All right.
In the meantime, can we have Steph's socials, and how can we reach out to the Nillion team in case if we are looking for some docs, some kind of support, if we are testing out or checking out their
Yeah.
environment, some.
So actually, I think she's coming back. But wait. On the Telegram group, I had I added Steph on it, so you can talk with her, and also let me share with you her X account. So 444 oh, I think yes, it's that. So you can connect with her and also on Telegram. So yes.
Oh, hi. I'm so sorry. My laptop died. So I'm joining from my phone for a second.
No worries. Like, yeah, so Harmas was asking where we can reach out for any question. So I thought that I added you on the ZKN privacy bootcamp chats on Telegram and also provided your X account. But like I don't know if you have a like a builder chat on Telegram or on Discord on your site too.
Let me see. I'll give you access to pick me.
Um,
Okay, I just added you as a contact, so you should be able to add me to that group.
Okay. Normally it's okay. I already added you. Um, it's called ZKN Privacy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Normally you are on it. It's all good.
I
Perfect.
just waved in that group. Perfect.
So here you can put your slide as well. And I will put it on our Google Classroom too.
Awesome.
Okay. So we are good. Nice.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry again, my laptop died. I'll send those slides inside of that group, and hopefully I'll see you all at Dev Connect.
Yeah, and we have a session as well on Wednesday.
Awesome. Yes. I'll see you then.
Yeah. See
Thank
you.
Yeah,
you.
Bye-bye. Just
yeah,
Bye.
very well.